Hi friends, Tracy.bish, Stampin' Up demonstrator in Australia. Welcome to Halloween Spooktacular for week 2. This is the card project for this week and I love how this one's turned out. It's a simple card, but you know, it's a really pretty card as well, and I think anyone would love something a little bit different. We have a great little colour combo here for my card and a little bit of texture in the background as well using one of our embossing folders. So the colours we've used on the card today are Darling Duckling, which is an in colour, Timid Tiger, which is another in colour. So these are the new in colours this year. There's 3 others as well. I'm using Petunia Pop, which is an in colour from last year, and Blueberry Bushel, which is a returning colour that came back into our colour palette a couple of years ago, which is super fun. I'm also using the Corrugate embossing folder for the matching piece and the Fright Night Bundle, both the stamp set and the dies. So we're using this image here and I love how cool this is. Like, you can do lots of different techniques by adding different images over the top, like maybe stamping them different colors. I've gone with something really simple, but that's something that we could maybe look at later on in the coming weeks. Alright, so let's get started with that. I do have my card kit ready to go. We have a basic white card base. This is basic white thick, and it's half a piece of A4 that has been scored in half and then cut in half, and that gives us our Australian standard size card. I have a piece of basic black, which I'm going to run through the embossing folder, the Corrugate embossing folder. Then I have 2 pieces, one of basic white thick and one of basic black. These are for our stamped image. So I'm going to do that first, and to get a good placement of that stamp, because I'm stamping in Memento and Memento doesn't always stamp nice and dark and black first go. I'm going to use my Misty machine to get that perfect placement. So let's grab that stamp out. In the die set, there's actually dies that coordinate with these banners. You can cut one out and then you cut the second one out, which is what we're going to be doing. And I'll show you that. So I'm just going to place this on the center there, close my Misty up and pick that up, and I'm going to just pop this down. I don't have many of those sheets for behind there, so I'm trying to preserve it a little bit by not using it. Okay, so I do need to grab my Memento again. We're going to ink up. And I'm actually just going to get my placement. So I know where it's going. Let's pop this on the top. And then we can re-ink. Now I think for my sample I make sure that that's centered. That looks good. I think I stamped it maybe 3 times to get good even stamping. As you can see, there's certain bits that are not very black. It just doesn't look very good. I find Memento does this a little bit. You do have to stamp a few times if you want a full black image, a solid image. And a stamp positioning tool is a great way of being able to do that. Okay, that's 2. Well, let's go one more and see how we go. Mainly focusing on those images. Yeah, much better. All right, so we have our little image. Move this aside. And for this, we're actually going to ink blend over it. So just to let that dry, we've got 3 layers there. I'm going to bring in my black piece and the embossing folder, and we're just going to quickly emboss that. So our matting piece in basic black. Let's bring my embossing folder in. Sorry, the cut and emboss machine. And I'm thinking this is a 3D folder. I usually write this, if it's a 3D, I usually write 3D, but I haven't. Let's do that first and see whether it is. Yes, it is, because that's perfect. So with the 3D embossing folders, you just need your platform and then plate 4, which is the grey one. Just knocked over a whole heap of things on the floor, so put those up. So look at the texture, and that's so great. Have that in the background. Very nice. All right, ink blending. Let's move on to that. So we have our 4 colours: Darling Duckling, Timid Tiger, Petunia Pop, and Blueberry Bushel. And I'm going to start from the lightest and go to the darkest. I have blending brushes for all 4 of those shades, so I don't have one for each colour. What I do is, you know, I have one for yellow, one for light pink, one for dark pink, so on and so forth, and that gets me through. So we want this to be nice and vibrant. As you can see, these colours are really bright and vibrant. So we're going to make sure that we get nice, good coverage onto our whole piece. And I'm colouring the whole lot. As you can see, the whole lot's covered. We'll die cut this piece out and then place it on top. So you want to make sure that, you know, you're colouring the whole lot. And our colours will fade a little bit once they dry. I'm going to come down just a little bit more. The colours I've chosen blend well, so you just want to make sure that you don't put colours together that go muddy. You don't want it to go brown. Timid Tiger is our next colour. And you're pretty much blending the colours together. So going up a little bit and then coming down. Very nice. Petunia Pop. Nice bright purple. And with the purple and blue will sort of make it a different colour of purple. So on a nice big area, as you can see, the purple and the orange makes it a deeper orange. And Blueberry Bushel, I love Blueberry Bushel. I think it's a really pretty blue. So I was glad when they brought that back. So although, you know, this is probably not your first thought for Halloween, these colours, I think it's a nice change. Now let me bring that up. Can you see the different purple there? So we've got the lighter pinky purple, the blue, and then just a quick blend between gives you that different purple. So we'll sort of work on that a little bit, going up a little bit into the Petunia Pop to change the colour. So you get sort of like 5 colours instead of 4. You see that different purple there? Very pretty. All right, we have that done. We're going to bring in our cut and emboss machine again with our die set. So in the die set there are 2 of these labels. We're going to be using both of them tonight. We're going to be using the smaller one on our coloured image, and then we've got another piece of black in this set that I'm going to also die cut as well. That's going to be the matching of this. So let's bring in the machine. And I will say that ink blending that we've just done, it's still quite wet. So you just want to be careful of that. You're going to have it on your fingers. You could heat it with the heat tool if you wanted it to dry a little bit quicker. I'm not overly worried about it, but it might be something that you want to just be mindful of as you're creating. And I'm going to struggle with this one here, so I'm just going to put a little bit of washi tape down. Make sure it doesn't move. Probably should have cut a little bit bigger piece of that basic black. It's probably a little too short. Anyway, run this through. And get our 2 die cuts. We don't need this leftover piece, we can throw that one out, but we do need to keep this one here. This one is actually going to be our background. See how that looks seamless, but with that black matting piece, it really does pop up, which is so cool. All right, let's adhere these ones down. So I'm just going to use some liquid glue. Pop down our corrugate piece. Also going to adhere this piece down with some liquid glue. We'll get that nice and centered. Ooh. Got it caught in my finger. I'm going to adhere these 2 pieces together, but then that black matting piece we're going to pop up with some dimensionals. Does that not just pop? You could go over this with black pen if you don't like how it's not quite dark enough. You could also heat emboss this piece. That would look fantastic. And then you have that as you're colouring with your blending brushes. That gives you that effect. What is it? Oh, I do it a lot. It's a great effect. Tell me in the comments. You guys know it. I know. Okay. It'll come to me. It will. Let's take the backings off. Emboss resist. That's it. And I know someone's already typed it, but yay. Let's pop this one up. Just stands out so perfectly. And then to finish this off, we're going to grab some of those embellishments. I'm going to use the white and black ones and just add a few down. So one of the large, these have such glitter and sparkle in them. They're just beautiful. A little black one down here and another large white one. Let's pop him up here. And I don't think I stamped inside. Oh, I did. Let's do that as well. So we've got the Happy Halloween from that stamp. So these ones actually, there is a banner. So this one here in the dies, and that works with these sentiments as well. So you can use the dies with this set. Happy Halloween. And there's also these little sparkles in here as well. Let's pop this one down. And some sparkles. And there's a little bit of a raised on here, so you want to be careful as you're stamping. Memento. Actually, let's change this one up. I'm going to stamp the sentiment with Blueberry Bushel. It's my favourite colour, and that's what I want to use. Stamp that in the middle like so, and then these little sparkly things, I think I'm going to use the Darling Duckling this time. Change my things around, nothing wrong with that. Then everyone's not going to get the same old card. So let me know, what one do you like better? The black sentiment or the blue? I like the blue. I think that's beautiful. And there we have it. This is week 2 of the card in Halloween Spooktacular. I hope you're enjoying this series. I am having so much fun creating the projects and sharing them with you. So hopefully you'll come back each week, and there's 2 videos each week. So come back and join me for those. If you've enjoyed today's project, please give me a thumbs up. I'd love it if you left me a comment if you're watching this on the replay. Subscribe to my channel, and if you're in need of any of the supplies that I've used on today's card, you can purchase them in my online store. There is a link in the description of this video, so go and check that one out. And yeah, thank you so much for joining me today. I'll be back later on in the week, next week, for week 3. All right, everyone, bye bye.